This podcast series is about confession. Who wrote the confession note? And what happened to Lily Jenkins that night?
Breaking news. 17-year-old Lily Jenkins is missing from the Lewes area in East Sussex. She was last seen walking past the brewery towards Tesco. Her family are asking anyone to come forward with any information.
Linda.
We need you to identify the body, ma'am. Those were words I never thought I'd have to hear. My whole body was shaking. I have never felt more scared in my life. It couldn't be our Lily. I had seen her this morning. She went to school just fine at 8:30 a.m. It's now 8:30 a.m. the following day, and we were stood in the police station being told Lily is dead. She just couldn't be. I looked towards my husband. I could see the worry in his eyes. I said to him I couldn't do it. I asked him if he could do it alone. I think he knew he had no choice. I watched him walk into the room, hoping and praying that it wasn't our little Lily.
Thank you to everyone who searched for Lily Jenkins. Her body was recovered in the River Ouse. Our thoughts and condolences go out to her family at this sad time.
The flashing of the blue light, so vivid in my memory. That was 10 years ago. Yet now here I stand with a note, a printed note, a confession. Someone wrote a confession. There's no name, just writing saying they were sorry they'd killed our daughter. Sorry? They were sorry? What a pathetic choice of language. You say you're sorry like that when you accidentally knock into someone in the street, not when you're bloody confessing a murder crime. Who on earth is this person? The note looked old, the paper damp and creased, the writing faded where it had been sat under the plant pot on our front porch. I was only moving the pot to change up the front porch a little bit. It's almost laughable all these years on. Lily's father, my Mark, is now dead and I'm all alone. Now, all alone with a confession note. I don't even know what to do. If Mark were here, he'd be right on the phone straight away to the police. He was always so good at dealing with strange situations. I wish he were here now. I look at the scrappy note in my hand. Could this truly be someone confessing, or is this fake? Now, how long had it been sat here? I mean, I hadn't moved those pots for years and years. I would never have thought this had been underneath it. I think it's best I call the police, just so I know for sure. I would regret not truly finding out. I go back inside and find the landline. I dial the number and tell the officer exactly who I am and what's happened. They said they are sending the detective out to me. Even after all this time, the emotions I had that day 10 years ago wash over me. Are we finally going to find out what happened to our Lily?
Detective Ashton. I'm driving towards the Jenkins house and I can't help but be shocked. I'm 5 years older than Lily, but I knew her older brother, Andy, from school. Everyone knew her name in this town. Now I was on my way to their home as a detective to look at what Linda Jenkins believes to be a confessions note. Who would confess after all this time? It sounds a bit dark, but surely you'd think that you've just gotten away with it by now. Unless the death was an accident. But she was found strangled and thrown into the River Ouse. That to me doesn't look like an accident. Maybe the person felt as though they had a guilty conscience that they needed to clear. However, it does seem rather strange that someone has confessed now. Maybe it was someone playing a cruel prank, a very horrible thing to do if that is the case. I guess I'll just have to wait and see when I get there. The houses and trees passed me by quickly as I drove the small streets of Lewis. It was summer, so the warm breeze was filling my car and making me sweat. I was already sweating out of nerves, and this really wasn't helping. I closed the window and cranked up the air conditioning. They didn't live far from the police station, still in the same family home they had been in when Lily had been killed. I pulled up to the front of the large detached house on Gundria Road and took a moment to calm myself. I wanted to do everything I could to help her. I wanted to figure out what had happened to Lily, but I knew that I couldn't promise anything.